Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about moving beyond the pages age 5 through 7 curriculum, which is roughly correlated to first grade. And the first thing that I wanted to start with was how to use moving beyond the page and how to schedule it, things like that. So the first thing that I want to show you is if you go onto their website, you're able to find a list for each level. A list, it's called a curriculum map. There's a list of all of the concepts that are covered. So for 5 to 7, we have habitats and homes, weather, community, amazing attributes, senses, we're the same, we're different, identifying and creating visual patterns, patterns in sounds, words, and actions, patterns in your world, changes on planet Earth, characters change, a first look at history, and then we have these math concepts and reading. So these are all of the things that will be covered in the entire curriculum package. And the next thing that I wanted to show you, if you are planning to use this as a full comprehensive package versus using individual unit studies, is that they have a tool on their website where they plan out for you each day. So you can select either the 5-day homeschool schedule, there's a 4-day homeschool schedule, and a 4-day relaxed homeschool schedule. And this will go ahead and plug in all of the components of the full curriculum. So you have from science, social studies, or language arts. The first concept is habitats and homes. So you have lesson 1, my environment. This is a science lesson. Then you have a math lesson, which is number sense, the first concept. And then you have a reading lesson. So if you feel not sure how to use all of the different components as a comprehensive whole, they have this great tool built out for you. So the next thing that I wanted to do is kind of show you what each concept involves. So we're not going, actually let's go in order. So the first concept is environment, and I will go ahead and flip to the skills covered for you, which is in the back of each instructor's guide, like we've talked about before. So here's the summary of skills that you cover in language arts, and this is available on their website. And then math, and you have the science concepts covered in social studies. So you can see this is quite a very dense unit. And then I just want to show you one of the true stars, I feel, of moving beyond the page is really the picture books that they use. So you have Over and Under the Pond. This is a great series, and this is the first I actually had heard of it was when we started their curriculum. It's several different books, Over and Under the Pond. There's also Up in the Garden, Down in the Dirt. This is a soft cover, the other one's a hard cover, and there's a couple other books in that series. So those ones are related to the environment and habitat, and then you have the salamander room. There's also a Jim Arnowski book, which I don't know where it is, but I have it about animal habitats. And I think that's all the animal books. And then you have there's a weather unit, so you have several different weather books. There may be one more that I misplaced. And also, this is the first time that we had encountered these new Dr. Seuss books, and my daughter loved them. So one thing I should add is we started this her kindergarten year when she was 5, and so we did some of the curriculum then, and then it became clear that this is really not a kindergarten curriculum. This is definitely at least first grade. So while you can do some of it younger, I think some of it you definitely will have an easier time if they're older. And then there's a map-related part of that unit, so these are the books for that, and these are all available on their website if you feel overwhelmed with all the stuff I'm showing you. So that is one of the first concepts, which is environment. And then the next concept we actually haven't done yet. It's called similarities and differences. This is one of the spines, A Life Like Mine. This is a very common book in Charlotte Mason circles because it shows children about children around the world. So the fact that it uses that tells me that it's an amazing unit, and it also covers the senses. It has a Magic School Bus book as well as an Aliki book, who's a very well-known author of picture books. Then we have change. So let's flip to the concepts covered there. So we have summary of skills for language arts. And this one was really a solid language arts curriculum for us. I'll talk a little bit more specifically about that in a bit. And there's some really great history, social studies content, as well as science. And I've mentioned in other videos, but in case this is the first time you're watching, using the skills in the back of these is a really great way if you're working with a charter school to tell your supervising teacher what you're working on. And this is just an overview again of the year and which concepts are covered when, in case you wanted an easier to access option. And it looks like I went out of order, so this is actually the last concept. And just one more kind of side note, each of these you have the option to purchase the student workbook, which has the activity pages in it, or you can buy these online. And when you purchase the parent manual, the pages do come online. They also have now an option to try out the first few weeks of their curriculum, so you get the first couple weeks of the first concept completely for free, which I think is an amazing, excellent idea. But getting back to it, so we're talking about change. So the concept of change, these are the books that are used. So first we have the Usborne Time Traveler. This is used in some other curriculums, so if you've used those and you have this, it's the same book, which is convenient. And I'll just show you the inside of that in case you haven't seen it before. There's Knights and Castles. I guess there's no main table of contents. There's Knights and Castles. Then you have Viking Raiders, and let's see, Pharaohs and Pyramids. I think there's one in between. Let me just see if I can find that. Yeah, Romans, then Pharaohs, and I think that's it. So those are the 4 concepts covered in this book. Then so that's one of the main texts for the history component, and then you have literature. So what do you do with the problem, the raft, telling time. This is also used in the math curriculum. The House on Maple Street, Seed to Plant, Push and Pull, Look How It Changes. And there are also some other books that are used in the middle of the curriculum that are not listed, so I'm not sure if that's something I'm supposed to reveal or not, like which books they are. But one of the things that I've noticed in using Moving Beyond the Page is that it's not only the books that are part of the package that you use. There's often supplemental or required books. Not sure why they're not included in the package or why it's done that way, but just kind of a heads up. For me, it's a positive because I always like having more picture books. But it is something that you want to look ahead and see if you have all the materials in place. We were able to find those books online because they are classic children's books. So if you're in a pinch or you don't have the budget for more books, these are the types of books you could find at the library or online. But this particular unit has that issue, so that's why I wanted to bring that up. And then the last non-math concept is patterns. So we did this one this year, and I think this would definitely be a good fit for 5-year-olds for kindergarten. You can do it with older kids, but I feel like if you have a student who you did an academic kindergarten with, this might be a little bit less challenging than the other curriculum. So let's look at the skills for that one. Here's language arts. And hopefully you could see that. And then this is really more kind of a mathy one. So then you have a little bit less for science and social studies. And that is the parent book. And then you have the student activity book. And let's just show you one example from here. Here's an example of patterns in nature, and so it's a really fun unit. I think this is really great for younger kids. And the books that come with it are Busy Bugs and Math Counts. This is a fun book. I really like their picture books. I feel like they do a really good job of picking those out. And then Bear Hugs, and this one is about rhymes and poetry as another type of pattern. And so then last, I don't actually have the reading curriculum, so I'm not going to talk about that. They've recently started putting out more content about that, so if you're interested, definitely check out their website. I can tell you that included with our curriculum is the reading assessments, so we have done some of those things, and they definitely seem to be on par with what I've done and liked in the past, so I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're curious. But we will now turn to math. So the way that their math is organized is by semester. So you have semester 1, semester 2 parent manuals and the corresponding student books. And I've mentioned before on my accounts or socials, whatever you want to call it, we have finished this. So we've done the whole year, almost every single worksheet, and I'm going to be showing you guys examples of the student work later, so I will just set that aside for now and show you the concepts that are covered in the 2 semesters, which are right here, and I'm sure there's a more detailed look in the book, but I'm going to skip that for now and for the sake of time. So the books that are included, and these are listed by semester, but I'm not necessarily doing them in that order because I'm not that organized, but you have 10 little hot dogs, 10 black dots. This one has some really cute activities you do. If you were a plus sign, if you were a minus sign, animals on board. This also has really cute activities. Shapes, shapes, shapes. I've shown the activities for this in a prior video. If I remember to link it, I will do that. It's about time and a Fair Bear Share. This was one of her absolute favorite books. I actually keep having to go find wherever she squirreled it away because she just loves looking at it so much. And like I said, I do have a separate review video about the math in particular, so I won't get too much into that. The next thing that I wanted to show you was 2 things. One is an example of the activities that you do with this curriculum, and then the other one is how we use differentiated instruction. So the first thing I wanted to show is some more of the math. So I was particularly impressed by the data and graphing unit. This was one of the activities that tied into counting and making a graph, and so here you can see the gorgeous coloring, which of course isn't always the case, so it makes it even more special, and then the corresponding graph that goes with it. So you count it and graph it, and I really, really liked that. And then it also teaches tallies, and here you can see zoo animal bar graph, zoo animal problem solving, and I'll just quickly show you this completed work. And then you have, so one thing I wanted to say about what I said earlier about needing to have this be a solid first grade curriculum, a lot of the math concepts are definitely not dumbed down. They're challenging, they require some abstract thinking, and we needed to do a lot of extra reinforcement with the concept of base 10. So just wanted to put that on your radar. We did do a lot of reinforcement because we had started trying to do this in kindergarten, which was a mistake. So we ended up circling back to it, and then as she got older, it became easier. And you get the idea. Then we have multiples of 10. This might even be math 6 through 8, so you'll want to check if you're ordering this, what goes where. But we had started doing 6 through 8s at some point during the year, so it could be that not all of these are math 5 to 7, but I think they mostly are. So great with the clock. Then we have stuff about how long things take. That was a really good unit. And then there's review, and I think every math unit has a great review, which is super easy for them, and it gives them more confidence. So that is the math. Then we have some stuff from the community. So as part of this, they learned about who are the different actors in the community, and like they make a little town with the different buildings, and then you talk about rural versus urban, map of the community, stuff like that. So that was really sweet. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was how we did a differentiated approach. So one of the things that is done is sequencing a story, which is a standard. I don't know which grade it's for, but this is an activity that uses sequencing, and this works really well for the younger end of 5 to 7. We did this when she was 6 because you can help them remember what was the beginning of the story, what was the middle of the story, what was the ending, and here you're doing it for 3 different stories. Then there's also stuff about feelings, which was really cute. And then writing, sequencing again. What is the order of a story? Sorry, my allergies are going crazy right now. And so that was the stuff that was on the younger part of it. Now I'm going to show you kind of how you can use the differentiated instruction. So this was the elements of one of the books that we read, and I think I had both of my students ended up doing, oh no, so then these are the things that my younger student did. So she put them in order. This is a timeline. So this is covering history and language arts because it's in a picture book. Oops, sorry about that. So then for my older student, my 4th grader, you have a more involved timeline. So they have to figure out which came first in order place and put what is describing what happened. And then you have things like vocabulary, and then you have using and in a sentence, comparing and contrasting, how do characters change, using or in a sentence, story elements, and more story elements. And so you can see that even though you're reading the same book to 2 different aged students, you really have the opportunity to explore them in a way that is suitable for their development. And I wanted to point that out specifically because I think that's something that Moving Beyond the Page does remarkably well, is it gives you these activities. You only have to buy 1 student guide and 1 parent book, but you really have a range of different options depending on what your child is ready for and able to do. So that's kind of the things that I wanted to share with you guys about this unit, or not this unit, this curriculum. I always do recommend, if you have not tried Moving Beyond the Page before, to start with 1 unit, because if you get this giant box with all these things in it, it can really be overwhelming. But as you can see, you know, that's how I did this. I purchased 1 unit at a time, but I really had such a good time with it and enjoyed using it that we ended up buying almost every single unit in the whole year. That is my encouragement. If you've been thinking about trying this curriculum, or you wanted more information and you've only been able to find massive unboxings, that was what my experience was when we first started trying in earnest. I just wanted to give kind of a more in-depth overview and look at the curriculum and share our experiences. And so in case it wasn't clear, I used this with my 1st grader and my 4th grader this year. Not as their main spine curriculum, but kind of supplemented with it and ended up doing almost a whole year. So that's how much we liked it. Thanks again for watching. And if you like this video and want to see more about Moving Beyond the Page, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.